Good morning everyone, today we're going to be talking about the content coming out right after the maintenance and why you should probably upgrade your weapon. But before we jump into all of that, if you're new to the channel, I upload NGS content daily, so if you do play this game, I would really appreciate a subscribe as it really helps out the channel. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin the video. So the number one reason why I highly recommend that you upgrade your weapon is because we are getting a new combat sector called the Neusen Plant. Now this combat zone specifically has a very interesting mechanic, as you can see right here. Every time a PSE burst occurs, certain game elements and spawned enemies will change dramatically, and Ark's defenders will even receive buffs. So there are some buffs, there are some debuffs, and enemies will be weak to different elemental damages. So just sticking with your Tenebro weapon will not be very effective in this area, simply because the Tenebro weapon is an elemental weapon. It is of the ice element, so it's only very effective against enemies which are weak to ice. And on top of that, the seasonal event is ending with the coming maintenance, so when this combat zone comes out, your seasonal weapons are not going to be very effective over here, because this augment over here will do absolutely nothing. So you do not gain the 5% potency, you don't get the 20% critical hit rate, and you don't get the 25% damage resistance. This is a dead augment. This augment only works towards seasonal enemies, and well, the season has ended, so there are no more seasonal enemies. So if you are hellbent on using your Tenebro weapon, you are going to need to replace this augment over here with another augment. However, even then, I don't recommend using a Tenebro weapon in that specific combat zone, because the enemies there are going to be weak to different elements and not only the ice element. So what you should be looking at instead is your Koklophus weapon. You can see over here I've got a fully decked out Koklophus weapon. My attack stat is 685. I even have the fixed attack 3, which gives me an additional 4% potency, and its weapon potential is extremely clutch, giving you that 25% extra potency and that 10% extra damage resistance against Doll's enemy, which just so happens to be pretty much every enemy in that combat zone. The Koklophus weapon is a no-brainer, just build this, and since we have Randomite right now, there is no excuse on why you should not have a Koklophus weapon. Now, you might not be able to make the fixed attack 3 because, you know, that costs 200 Infernium, but at the very least, you should be able to get a regular Koklophus weapon with no fixer that only costs 15 Infernium, but I recommend getting the 30 Infernium and getting the fixed attack level 1 because that should be your baseline. Just get the Koklophus weapon with the fixed attack 1 and then augment it with whether budget augments or endgame augments, whatever you feel like it, and you will be fine in that combat zone. However, if you don't want to invest in a Koklophus weapon and you already have a fully augmented and enhanced rugged weapon or obsidia weapon, it's perfectly fine to use those weapons as well. However, I personally just think the Koklophus weapon is more future-proof because with the Darkfall's Aegis coming out, you know, that is clearly a Doll's enemy. So having that extra 10% damage reduction and 25% potency is going to play a big part against Darkfall's Aegis. But now we have to talk about why is that combat zone so important? And the reason why it's so important is because that combat zone is the only place, I repeat, the only place where you can obtain your Arms Refiners 2. The Arms Refiner 2 is a material needed in order to limit break your 8-star as well as 7-star rarity armors and weapons. And after you limit break your 7-star and 8-star rarity gear, you will be able to enhance them all the way up to plus 60. Now the big question is, when we get our gear to plus 60, will we get the 6th augment slot? A lot of people are saying no, you're not going to get the 6th augment slot, simply because if you look at the lower rarity gear, which can already be plussed up to plus 60, so if we look at your 4-star rarity gear, your 5-star rarity gear, those armors and weapons can already be enhanced up to plus 60. However, they do not give you an additional augment slot, it's still only 5 slots. So a lot of people are speculating when you get your 8-star rarity and 7-star rarity weapons and armors to plus 60, it's just going to increase the base attack value. However, something that a lot of people have forgotten is actually your weapon potential. A lot of those older weapons can get up to weapon potential level 5. So I'm fully expecting that our weapons are going to be able to go up to level 5, which is going to give us even more stats. However, in the ideal situation, I would like to get a 6th augment slot, mainly because I do want to put Dreadkeeper 4s on all of my weapons and armors, which will allow me to be significantly tankier as well as deal a butt ton of damage. However, we're gonna have to wait and see. I personally do not expect us to get the 6th augment slot. However, I am praying that we do get it because it will make the game so much more interesting. There's gonna be so many more things for me to work towards and to upgrade. And you know, I could just increase my battle power, increase my gear, increase the power level of my character, and it just gives me a sense of progression. But without that, you know, it's just kind of like, ah, dang, that really sucks. But nevertheless, it is still something for me to grind towards, because I'm sure to get all of those arms refiners too, it's gonna be a pain in the butt, or it's gonna take quite some time. So I'm fully ready for the grind.
Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. Thank you again.
But yeah, that's all I wanted to cover in today's video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye!